You know, when it comes to watching a yearly anthology series, you need to be aware that not every season is going to consist of wholly original material. There's going to be stuff lifted from another source, whether it be character archetypes, plot points, or aesthetics. And tokusatsu is no stranger to this. Lupin Ranger vs. Pot Ranger takes its thief and cop dynamic from Lupin III, the currently running Kamen Rider Geats is basically just Squid Game, and Ryusoldier takes its aesthetic from a popular series you may have heard of, Juden Sentai Kyuranger. However, all of these borrowed elements don't ultimately detract from the unique narrative each show is trying to present. None of them are that distracting. Except for one. A show that not only blatantly rips multiple character archetypes, but entire, very specific plot points. A show that, while still very enjoyable in its own right, is impossible to separate once you've consumed both it and the series it's borrowing from. The latter of which is one of the most popular manga of all time, Eiichiro Oda's decades-long pirate adventure series, One Piece. And the former, the season of Super Sentai that borrowed heavily from it, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. What? I'm not joking. When you look at the overall structure of the entire series, Kyuranger basically boils down to being One Piece, but in space. Ooh, but Gokaiger. Using pirates as a theme is not ripping a specific piece of media off. No, I'm not talking about aesthetics, but character types, and very, very particular plot points. But I don't want to be one of those guys who drags things out for too long, so how should I go about conveying these comparisons? Main team consists of 9 members, which is the exact number of people on the Straw Hats when the show came out in 2017. A totalitarian government which rules over almost every part of the world, or in Kyuranger's case, the entire universe. Main character has a name with the syllables L, U, and E, whose primary color is red. Main female character is named Blank Ami. This one's kind of nitpicking, I just happened to notice it. Character voiced by Kazuya Nakai, who serves as the main character's right hand, sort of. Character who's a cook, whose primary color is yellow. Seriously, what show about a space rebellion needs a character whose prominent personality trait is being a cook, specifically? Character whose gimmick is that they're a liar. Character who's the youngest and can also grow to be really huge. Character voiced by Hiroshi Kamiya. Okay, this one is definitely a stretch. They're not even the same character personality-wise. Character with a cane who has a relation to music. Plot point regarding a ship that contains an ultimate power. Plot point about the team's current ship falling apart and being replaced with a new one. The sentient ship saves the team in its final moments. A character has actually been royalty this whole time. It's not one-to-one, but it's still there. Plot point about a character leaving the team. To be fair, none of the Straw Hats were manipulated into being completely evil, so the team splits up to accomplish multiple tasks, and the red member is the only one to stick with both parties. Plot point about a team member who left, coming back with a silly-looking mask that only really fools 1 or 2 people. We need to find 4 items to get to a specific location, which is located at the center of a cross. Yeah, I couldn't come up with 24, but to be fair, I was trying to stick with specific details, otherwise I'd have stuff like character with a backstory involving fire, because no other story has ever had a character backstory using fire as an element. Also, because this plot point hadn't been revealed at the time of Kyuranger's ending, secret character in charge of all controlling government is revealed! You might be saying, Alex, or whatever your name is, this is extremely nitpicky. And you would be right. This is what happens when you come up with a video idea 5 years ago when you were a teenager. But now that I've been to college, I feel like adding a little more insight as to why, in 2017, Super Sentai thought it could rip elements from the most popular manga ever and nobody would notice. And by insight, I mean... So, let's assume the basic production pipeline of a toku series made by Toei is Plex designs the concept art, Bandai makes the toys, and Toei produces the show itself. If so, then we can infer that the idea of having 9 Rangers as a means of making the series stand out from its contemporaries came from one of the 2 non-Toei parts of the pipeline. Okay, maybe you can't infer that, and decisions about a TV show are made more synchronously than that would allow. But, for the sake of a long-winded conspiracy theory, let's assume that the choice of having 9 main characters to focus on out of the gate was out of the hands of the production team, forced into making a creative decision that most people would probably find troubling, to downplay it a bit, especially with the knowledge that they'd have to add even more characters further down to shake up the story. So, my crackpipe conspiracy is that, in a haste of desperation, someone at Toei said, hey, maybe we could take cues from another show with 9 main characters and see if we could transplant that structure into our show. And everyone agreed to do that. which is why a show about pirates and a show about a space resistance have a character who is yellow and also a cook. Wait. Anyone mildly familiar with One Piece is aware of how long it is, and could probably piece together that trying to achieve 800 plus chapters of character development in a 50-ish episode show will wind up being either super rushed or super underdeveloped. And I think in Kyuranger's case, it was worsened by the fact that they weren't allowed to have the time to give every character a full introductory arc, or even a full episode to really cement their value as a part of the team. I personally think the best parts of Kyuranger are when it works with the stuff that's mostly original. Stuff like Lucky's philosophy on luck itself, Naga's struggle with his lack of emotions and how balance plays into that, and the entire dynamic with Stinger and Champ. But there are also some instances where I could see them ripping off some stuff from One Piece structurally could have helped make the show stronger, and the relatively shorter time to work with is what tripped them up. The show likes to split the team apart to go on separate adventures, but never for any longer than 1 or 2 episodes. I think the show would have benefited from having devoted multiple episode arcs focusing on a select few rangers, basically treating each division like its own mini Sentai. But I guess they didn't want to stray too far from the path on this one, and Kyuranger had to be a long, convoluted space epic packed with enough plot to justify having 12 main characters. And by long, convoluted space epic, I mean One Piece modified so that Shueisha can't sue Toei for plagiarism. Am I being kind of mean? Yes. Am I over-exaggerating? Yes. I don't know what point I was trying to make with this video. All I know is that in 2017, I thought it was really funny that Toei copied a bunch of character and plot beats from the most popular thing ever, put it in space, and called it a day. Ha! To end things on a side note, it's kind of funny that Kyuranger was when Superhero Time moved time slots to be at the same time as One Piece and Dragon Ball Super, and it was paired alongside a show that eventually evolved, or devolved, into Dragon Ball Z fights. This video was made because I wanted to try a new method of getting stuff out in a timely manner. Hopefully I can get all the videos I want out on time. I'm aiming for 1 a month, which probably means a few videos like this while I work on bigger stuff. If you guys don't like it, tough! No one's paying me to do this, so none of you can control me. Nee.